Good morning and welcome back to Bald Father Bets, guys. So do a quick recap of yesterday, which was the first day of NFL Wildcard Weekend, Saturday. Led our picks today for NFL Wildcard Sunday. We got 3 games in every aforementioned NFL time slot. And then after that, little quick preview for tomorrow's game, Monday Night Football. We'll give that pick in a separate video tomorrow, though. But first, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, notifications on. Help support us, like, share, comment on this video. Any traction that we can get to help us in the YouTube algorithm, help us gain more subscribers. Never ask anyone to pay for these picks, just want to keep growing our channel. It's been a really enjoyable season so far, and we're winning, so I want to spread that around with as many people as possible. So yesterday, started out with what was our most confident play of NFL Wildcard Week. I'm always a little nervous when that's the first game of the slate, right? Because you don't want to lose it if you're going to do a big unit play. But we got to win. Texans plus the 3. I think they won by 20. So obviously that cashed really similar to the game last year that they had in the same round against the Browns, where you had a Texans at home plus 3, a team coming in that had a lot of public love to it. So Chargers had a lot of public love, as they should. Harbaugh and Herbert together. Last year was a little different. Last year was even a little bit easier in my opinion, because it was a Flacco team. It was like, hey, I don't know how long he's gonna be able to keep this up for with this Browns team. And the Browns were significantly different defense at home and away last year. This year different, right? The Chargers have been one of the top defenses in the NFL. Whether they've been at home or away, it hasn't really mattered. Jesse Minter and that staff has completely turned that defense around. Derwin James is, he's all-pro caliber. I don't know if he got the all-pro nod or if he got all-pro second team. I don't remember. But he's all-pro caliber. And the first play on defense, right, he rips the ball away from Mechie for a turnover for the Chargers. And Houston had to really kind of settle down, but they did. When the Chargers were hot early and they didn't have anything clicking, they only gave up 6 points. And then right before halftime, they were able to get 10 points to make it a 10-6 game. And then that's where, just kind of like last year with the Browns, second half is where it fell apart for the Chargers. Second half is where it fell apart for the Browns. Flacco started throwing interceptions last year. Herbert started throwing interceptions this year. People are bashing Herbert a little bit too much, man. Most of those picks weren't on him. I mean, he had balls going off of guys' hands, going through guys' hands, all that stuff. When you get down like that, you're gonna have to push the ball downfield some, and some things can happen. And whereas this year the Chargers have really been able to operate 100% with a lead, and not have to rely too much on Herbert's miracles the way that they did in previous years under Staley. That changed in this game because they got down by 2 scores late. So they really had to push, and when you push like that, then bad things can happen. So anyway, we got the win there, but positive for us on the Texans. So it was 10-0 there to start. Then we went into the evening game, which was really a tight one. Went down to the wire for us. Ended up going with the Ravens minus the 8.5. Got a win. Looked like it was going to be, kick your feet up, rocking chair, smoke a cigar, drink a bourbon type game. And then Steelers made it sticky for us there in the second half. They showed some fight. They looked completely out of it. They looked disinterested, like they didn't want to be there. You hardly ever see Minkah Fitzpatrick not really bring it. And he didn't really bring it, man. It's a 21-7 game. They get Lamar sacked on the first play of the next drive. So it's 2nd and 20. He rolls out to his right. He throws a pass to Tylan Wallace. Wallace drags Minkah Fitzpatrick probably 6 or 7 yards to the first down marker, gets a first down. They ended up scoring on a Derrick Henry long run on that, but that was kind of encompassing. Like, Steelers had momentum at that point. They just scored a touchdown. They made it 21-7. Then they get a sack coming out on the first. If they get a stop there and they get the ball back, and they make that thing 21-14, all of a sudden you have a game. And they did score on their next drive. So Ravens went down to score. It was 28-7. Steelers came back and scored again. So had they gotten that stop and made it 21-14, man, Steelers would have had life, but they didn't. They just really didn't show a lot of fight from their side. But anyway, it was good for us. So 5-0 there. So 15-0 yesterday, a positive day. So now we move into NFL Wildcard Sunday. Opening game, Broncos and Bills. I'm going to have my season-long theory tested a little bit here. So you guys, I think, know that I'm not that high on the Bills. I backed off of it a bit as the year went on. A lot of it had to do with the types of matchups that the Bills were getting. We were on the Bills more. We were against them in the Patriots weeks, but we were on the Bills more in other weeks due to certain matchups. The reason that I don't love the Bills is I think Josh Allen is incredible. I think he's Superman. I think he's one of the best things ever. I think when he doesn't have a Superman game, they become very mortal. I don't think they have a very good defense. I don't think that outside of Allen on offense, they have a whole lot of weapons. I just think that especially in the playoffs when Allen is willing to run, that offense reminds me a lot of 2015 Carolina with Cam Newton, where you kind of have to pick your poison and there's nothing you can really do. That Carolina offense, they had Steve Smith, but they didn't have a whole lot of weapons outside of that either. Bills have Amari Cooper, not a whole lot of weapons outside of that. Good tight ends, same thing that Carolina team had. And a pretty good downhill offensive line, same thing that Carolina team had. And it's just, it's very difficult to get a stop on them. Now, Denver has one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they have had that for all season. They haven't really shown up against really good teams, though. Bo Nix has done everything he's been asked to do. From an efficiency number standpoint, he's been the best rookie quarterback. This is one of the best rookie quarterback classes we've seen in a while. So I don't think anyone would pick any of the others over Jaden Daniels. But from an efficiency standpoint, Nix has been the best. One of the things about this weekend that I've looked at in all these games is all of these cold weather home teams. All the teams that they're playing that are coming in to play them are also from outdoor cold weather locations. So Bills obviously playing at home. It's cold up there, snowy up there. They're playing Denver. Denver's quite used to cold and snow. Later today, the Eagles will be playing the Packers. Packers are very used to cold and snow. Last night, you had the Ravens playing the Steelers. Steelers are used to playing outdoors, cold and snow. So we don't have any of those true, I would say, weather advantages this weekend that oftentimes you get on a wild card weekend, but not really getting it this weekend. The one thing, though, about that, yes, Denver is a cold weather location. Bo Nix is a rookie. Bo Nix is from Alabama, grew up an Auburn fan, went to Auburn, then transferred up to Oregon. This season is really the first time he's ever spent any significant amount of time playing in cold weather. Now, I looked at it. His numbers playing in Denver as the season went on, as it got colder weather up there, were fine. He didn't really exhibit any issues with it. So I'm going to trust that he can handle the cold weather, but that one could backfire. So anyway, long way of saying we're going to ride with the Broncos here, plus the 8.5. Main reasons are the defensive advantages that they have over the Bills. I just don't trust the Bills defense, especially against a Sean Payton offense that's predicated on the run. And if Josh Allen is Superman every single game, and they go off and they beat every team by 10 or more points and they win the Super Bowl, you tip your cap. I just think the odds of him doing that every single week over week is more difficult. And 8.5 is just too many points. So 5 units, Broncos plus 8.5. Then we move into the afternoon game. So this is a rematch of the second game of the season, the one that was played Friday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We have the Packers and we have the Eagles, and they'll be playing in Philadelphia. Interesting game here. Jordan Love traditionally has played very well late season. He was playing very well late season up until that Vikings game. However, they kind of really put it together in the second half of that one. Then you have Jalen Hurts, who's been out for 2 weeks with the concussion, mainly precautionary once they kind of knew they were in the 2 seed. I think in a gotta have it situation, he would have played last week. And then you're like, oh, well, he didn't clear concussion. But people who think that teams have zero influence on whether or not a player clears concussion protocol or not, you're lying to yourself. They do. So I think he would have cleared concussion protocol and he would have played for sure. So we'll see how he does. I think he's going to be fine. The other thing with this game is they were force-feeding Saquon the ball at the end there to try and get him to 2,000 yards. You know, as they should. They'd already wrapped up the division, the 2 seed, all that stuff. I think you're going to see Saquon get involved more in the screen in the pass game as well here. Because before, when they were getting him yards, they wanted him to be rushing yards. Now they're trying to win the Super Bowl. It doesn't really matter. The Packers seem to have finally gotten a little bit healthier, on the defensive side. They've been dealing with injuries. No one's really been talking about it. People keep talking about the Lions injuries, but Packers have been decimated on that defensive side of the ball for a while now too. They're getting some guys back in a time where they really need them. They did lose Watson, and that is it doesn't, to people who don't follow the Packers or understand the Packers, they don't know how big of a deal that is. He's one of their main deep threats, and he kind of takes the top off the defense, so it forces the defense to respect it. When he's not there, they don't have as many downfield passing options. So you're going to see the Packers need to run the ball here, in my opinion, which they absolutely can with Josh Jacobs. So ultimately, this one came down to the number. I'm one of the people who thinks that the Eagles have a really good chance to get to the Super Bowl. But this is too many points against a Packers team that, late in the season with Jordan Love, in the divisional round, all that stuff, they play well. I know it's a 2 versus 7 seed, and traditionally the 7 seeds have not done well. These 7 seeds this year are a little bit different, man. Mainly because the way the NFC North was, and the fact that you could argue the best, the third best, and the fourth best team, after the Eagles being the second best team, were all in the NFC North: Lions, Vikings, and Packers. So I think this Packers team is a different type of 7 seed than we've seen previously. So we like the Packers here. We like them plus the 5.5. We're riding with Jordan Love mainly and how well he does late season. And we're fading a little bit a Jalen Hurts quarterback. Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. Whenever you see me fading the Eagles, most of the time I'm fading Jalen Hurts throwing the ball. He has had issues with it late in season and got to have it moments if they haven't been able to get what they need to get out of the run game. So that one's 5 units as well. Packers plus 5.5. Now the evening game, Sunday Night Football, Commanders Bucks. We are now this one and then Monday Night Football. These are the 2 tightest ones of the weekend. These are as tight as that Penn State Notre Dame line was, in my opinion. You're pretty much at a coin flip here. The Commanders' defense is opportunistic, but not good. I will continue to say all year long they are not good. They are opportunistic, for sure. The Buccaneers' offense is night and day some days. They are one of the most lethal offenses in the NFL, and then other days it looks like they can barely get out of their own way. And the thing is, it's independent of when they're playing against good defenses or not. And I got to have it for the division game against the Saints. They didn't even really show up to start the game, and then they had to rescue themselves late. Now, people will say the Saints have had the Bucs number for a while now. That was under Dennis Allen coaching staff. So I thought under Rizzi it would change a little bit, but it really didn't. Saints had the Bucs number in that game. They've also been explosive in other areas and perplexing in other areas. With Bucky Irving, some days it's like they can run the ball and you can't stop them, and other days it's like Irving can't even get a yard. So they're a very difficult team to read. On the defensive side, a lot of the stuff that you would think of a Todd Bowles defense and a Buccaneers defense, it hasn't really been there this year. And the question is, are they going to be able to hold up against Jaden Daniels, who went on, is as talented as anyone in the NFL? He's just young. So Really, really tight read on this one. We are going to keep monitoring this line movement up until kickoff. And it's something that's this tight and is on a number of 3. Any line movement to 2.5, 3, or 3.5 is massive in terms of the value that you would be getting here. So we're going to monitor this one up until kickoff, and we will do a community post. So as I stated with this line, you have a very similar situation with tomorrow night's game. The line movement after the move to the neutral site, in my opinion, doesn't make sense. So Rams home games for teams which travel are away games. The Vikings travel. They have one of the most loyal fan bases in the NFL. That Rams Vikings game in LA would have been at least 50-50 in the crowd. So the line going from Vikings -1 to Vikings -2.5 and pushing -3 now at a lot of places, in my opinion, doesn't make sense for the fact that, okay, so they're playing out in Arizona. Like, it wasn't like the Rams have a real home field advantage anyway. Now, anytime you enter travel into the situation, okay, that impacts some. That definitely impacts some. But not enough, in my opinion, to take a line from -1, especially if it hits -3, all the way up to -3. So I think you're also seeing sharp action here come in on the Vikings, which I understand. The Vikings, people are like, they lost that game to Detroit, and they didn't look good doing it, but they haven't looked good against Detroit the entire time Kevin O'Connell and Dan Campbell have been there. Brian Flores does not do well against Jared Goff, does not do well against Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn does well against Kevin O'Connell. So this is as much, I think, a coaching staff matchup and a philosophy style matchup that the Vikings just have been on the short end of, that made them look really bad in that Week 18 game. That now I think people might be putting too much stock into it. And you guys know, I love Sean McVay. I think McVay and Kyle Shanahan are the 2 best coaches in the NFL. I'll die on that hill, and 7 days a week. But this number is an interesting one to me for a neutral site game. So that's another one. We're going to be monitoring that one really close up to kickoff, guys. We'll come at you with a video Monday night before kickoff. But these last 2 games to close out wildcard weekend, in my opinion, they're the tightest on the lines for sure. As always, make sure you're shopping around your lines, whether you're betting with us, whether you're betting against us, whatever number it is that you're landing on, make sure you're getting the best one. For an example, in this Packers-Eagles game, if you're on the Packers, you can get plus 5.5. If you're on the Eagles, you can get all the way down to minus 4.5. So make sure you're shopping your lines. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your NFL Sunday wildcard weekend. This is one of the best weekends of the year. Pretty awesome having college football semifinal games to go along with it now. But let's get after them. Let's go Broncos. Let's go Eagles. Let's go Broncos. Let's go Packers. And then we'll see what we do in the late game tonight. I will be at you with a community post. Have a great day.